What is going on? Hello, hello, hello. Happy St. Patty's Day, Dave.
I love all the green you're wearing, my man. It was a good reminder to me.
I got green back here though. I got green back there.
There you go.
That's my green.
You're surrounded by green, right?
I'm surrounded by. I really am actually. There's a lot of green in my house, in my life. I write it. I write with.
Hold on to that all day long.
Yes. So awesome to see you. Awesome to see everybody. We're gonna have some fun today. If you're watching. Comment, let us know where you're at, what you're watching, what you're taking a break from. This is your brain break for Wednesday, March 17, 2021. And what else we got? What are we doing, Dave? We're going to talk maybe about some brackets.
I've got some real questions for you. I was just waiting because I knew I'd be meeting with you today. I figured let's just let the world
real questions. We got real questions. So you have a question that you would need to ask me, and you're like,
yeah, I was just going to ask you this stuff. And I figured, whatever. We'll just put the camera on and let's talk.
Let's do it live. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we got questions. We got real questions. We got fake questions. We got brackets. We got some green stuff, some non-green stuff.
Fun. And I've got a Sam Adams. So I don't know.
You got a Sam Adams. I'm hooked. It's gonna go all summer long. It's Mad Red, White, and Blueberry. So Red, White, and Berry. I don't even know what it's called. So if you're with us, drop in the comments. Let us know where you're at. What are you snacking on or drinking right now? What are you taking a break from? And some green hearts, right? So we'll be back in about a minute. It's nice seeing my buddy Chad on the video at the end there. I just got to talk with him for a while. He's on the road right now. He's back. He's back on the road visiting schools and stuff now. So kind of crazy, kind of cool to see though. So yeah, we got some folks joining us today. What's up, Alex?
Can I comment on one of these folks too?
When I get there, you're allowed to comment when I get there. Otherwise, you have to start. You can't. You're not allowed to.
I'll wait. I'll wait for Elijah. When you get to Elijah, I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay, I love Alex bringing up some YouTube there. Hi, Amanda. Good to see you. Alex, yes, it's summer in my house, baby. It's like 60. It's 66 degrees in Ohio right now. It is summer. I don't care what date it is. Chelsea Nicolino in the house. Good to see you, Chelsea. Elijah. Okay, eating some St. Patty's Day donuts from Krispy Kreme. What's up,
Krispy Kreme. Hey, do you have Krispy Kreme in Ohio?
Yeah.
Do you see? We don't have Krispy Kreme. That's enough. We don't have Chick-fil-A. We don't have Krispy Kreme.
You don't have Krispy Kreme in Michigan?
No. We make Faygo. We're the home of Kroger's in Cincinnati now. But I was going to say, Meijer headquarters. I don't know.
You make Faygo. Like that's all you need right there,
okay,
dude.
We make Faygo. Okay, fair enough. Okay,
you make
rock and rye, but Krispy Kreme. Oh my gosh, it makes my mouth water.
You guys made Faygo, Marshall Mathers, and the Insane Clown Posse. Like,
what else do you need, right? What else?
Game over. Like that. Those all cancel out Kid Rock. It's great. Like,
oh wow,
that's bad because I actually enjoy some of Kid Rock's music. I just don't like him as a person. I'm not sure if I like any of them as a person because I've never met him, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, Krispy Kreme sounds good. So you don't have Krispy Kreme in Michigan?
Nope.
Interesting. And you don't have Chick-fil-A either.
We have
Tim Hortons. You got Tim Hortons, that's nice. Yeah. We have those too, but we also have Krispy Kreme and Chick-fil-A.
Wow. Maybe see Ohio. It's growing on me, Jeff. It is.
Yeah, I mean, first you're like Brittany Wolf. Okay, that's good, right? And then Megan Anderson, Jeff may or may not be a help, and now you're like Krispy Kreme. Okay.
Well, I don't know, Jeff, because whenever I come to Ohio, I feel like I could come play a round of golf with you, and that boosts my self-esteem. So you are definitely advantageous to the state.
Let's be real. If playing a round of golf with me boosts your self-esteem is not very good to begin with. So the boost might not do anything there. Good to see you, Christy. Checking in from Lexington. What is going on? What do you do? Taylor's working on tornadoes down in Alabama. There's a lot coming through in the south there. Yeah, so stay safe. I know we're joking with stuff like that, but man, crazy down there. Who's this? Hey,
that is Megan Deegan.
Megan Deegan. So we were talking beforehand. I had my screen up so that I could see in the group, and then I didn't refresh it, so it's not showing me the live video. So I got to do that real quick so I can see everyone in here. So that's Megan Deegan. Megan, good to see you. It's funny when I bring it up there, then I hear you talking in my ear because it's playing the video there, and I didn't realize it wasn't you live. So okay. I'm all over the place. Good to see you, Megan.
Wow, Taylor. I mean, that part is true, but ouch. And that's true. 2004, 88, 89, and it's sad that I remember those 3 years.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are the years, huh?
How's Cleveland doing? Other than
I don't know.
Okay,
not well, probably. We're all still just hoping LeBron comes back one day. like we know it's not going to happen. He's like buying. He just did you see? He's just
Boston Red Sox.
Boston Red Sox. Yeah, he's going to buy the undisclosed percentage.
Which is part of the question I have for you as well. Diversification type of question. So
Megan, good to see you. Katie, what's up, Katie? Oh, look at that! I never realized your picture. You got your little girl in there. It's adorable. Natalie, good to see you. Carrie's in the house. The boss.
Carrie's podcast episode. Oh. Fire.
Let's talk about that for a second. So, first off, Megan saying Ohio would have to bring more than golf. Nikki, good to see you. So, Carrie, so that night, we had a guest that was scheduled to come on. We got connected with him, and there was like storms. He was on all kinds of issues with his internet. We just couldn't. We tried like 6 times to get connected. We couldn't. And we're like, oh, man. And like, we're getting on the tight skids because Ray was taking a couple weeks off, so we weren't going to have enough episodes. And she's like, who haven't we had on the team? I'm going to ping Carrie. So Carrie jumped on. I'm talking like 5-minute notice. Jumped on, didn't take a look at any questions and like that, and just went with us. And it was a good episode. She killed it.
That's the sign of brilliance right there, because it was all just straight shooting, and oh my gosh, it was so good. It was good. That might be one of my favorites. Like out of 200 plus that you guys have done, it was that good.
Now, with that said, Carrie also like works like. She's a full-time teacher and a very passionate and dedicated teacher, and then works like 500 hours a week for us. So like brilliance may not be the best. She does choose to work with us. So like you got to kind of weigh that a little bit.
She keeps you afloat is what she does.
She does. That's true. That's true. All right. Let's, what do you got? What are you going to do? You got some questions or you want to get into bracket talk? If we talked about disclosing bracket, maybe next week we'll like get into the brackets. We'll be able to share like everyone on the team. Like, so Dave had a great idea, like internally with our team, we're a few of us, not everyone, but a bunch of us we did brackets. So, but we actually can't view everyone's bracket until after tomorrow or after Friday, right?
Sharing your final four at least, knowing that I've already got mine submitted. I'm not going to steal yours.
Yeah, mine's.
You kind of already slipped up. You took a screenshot the other day and we're sharing something about somebody's name, and it showed your winner. I could see the logo of Gonzaga, who you have chosen. So.
Yeah, like surprise. I mean, like
I didn't choose Gonzaga. I chose a winning team.
My final four. Who? You'll be glad. I mean, this was hard for me to do, but Michigan made it to my final four.
Ooh, look at you!
I'm looking right now, and this was like completely unintentional. I've never done this ever in the history of doing brackets. I've been doing brackets for a long time. I have all 4 number ones in the final four.
And that has never happened. So,
I've never done it. I've never picked it,
and it's never happened. So
I'm like, wow, that's a bad choice, Jeff. I did that really late.
Well, this could be the year because this has been just an absolutely crazy.
You know what? Well, yeah, why not? I'm going to go for it. Who do you have in your final four? I got Gonzaga, Michigan, and Gonzaga winning, and then Baylor, Illinois with Illinois winning.
Yeah, mine's a little bit crazy. I've got Kansas and Michigan, Baylor and Oklahoma State.
So we got Kansas and Oklahoma State getting there. Where do I have them getting knocked out? I think I picked Kansas as one of my early upsets. Not really an upset, but yeah, it's an upset. I have USC taking them out, which I don't actually see going on. It's one of those ones where I'm like, I don't think this is going to happen, but
back in the day, I used to be the bookie at all the schools I worked at.
Oh, really?
Super Bowl squares, March Madness. I used to have all the binders and the highlighters, and I had to do it all by paper pencil, and I loved it. I used to spread out everybody's bracket all over the floor. Would have envelopes full of cash. It was completely legal because we weren't whatever of fake Monopoly money. Sorry, I just realized what I was saying live. But I would just spread it all out, and oh my gosh, it was absolute heaven. And now that we've got the apps and it's hard to see what everybody else is picking. It kind of loses some of the luster, I think. I used to love the mess of the paper just everywhere.
I get it. Alex and Taylor, I'd love to see drop in the and Elijah too. Like if you guys want to drop anybody, they're the ones that commented specifically on this. Drop in your comments if you can. Drop if you got a bracket. Who are your final four and who do you got winning? So who do you have winning?
Michigan.
Over who?
Over Baylor.
Over Baylor. Okay.
So I always get into that tricky mess. So the first 2 rounds, this is my strategy, whether it works or not, whatever. The first 2 rounds, I pick who I think will actually win the game. But then I get to the point where I hate it when like all of my teams are out and I've got nobody to root for. So once I get to the Sweet 16, I start saying, who do I actually want to win? Not who do I think
versus who do you think is going to win?
Because then I want to still have a rooting interest in the games. I used to just think straight strategy, who's going to win, and I would be so devastated after the first weekend because I had nobody left. So I kind of hedge my bets now.
Alex has Michigan beating Kansas and Illinois beating Ohio State, and then Illinois
Big
winning
Ten heavy. Look at that, 3 Big Ten teams. That's like the Dickie V bracket. He had 3 Big Ten teams too.
Baylor over Gonzaga for Taylor. So we used to do Amy's grandmother, who we lost a few years back, she used to bet on anything and everything. Like it literally like go to her house for Christmas. She's like, all right, let's throw down. Who wants to put it? We're going to do $1 bet in over and under on what time Uncle Ned and Gail are going to get here. Like literally everything. Which is hilarious because the first time I ever went up to Canada with them before we even married, she had never played Texas Hold'em. So I taught her Texas Hold'em. I took all of her money. It was all Canadian.
Back in the heyday of it too, huh?
That stays up there, and she just loved it, like because it was just a new thing to game on. But she used to run the brackets, and we'd have family members from all over the country mail in her brackets, and she'd handle it all. It was just, and she'd give updates and stuff. It was awesome. We kept it going for a couple years, but then eventually it was kind of like it wasn't the same without grandma in it. So, it's fun.
One of the things that I'm extremely frustrated with this year. And this is going to
me? So are you going to say me? Like,
no. I'm not going to state
like
that.
You're talking about March Madness, though.
Yeah, March Madness. So tomorrow, the first Thursday of March Madness was like a holiday for me. I would treat that like the Super Bowl. I would come up with class lessons so students would have to be facilitated and come back to my desk for help and support so that I could be locked in somewhere watching games or at least seeing scores update. When I was a principal, this was epic. As a principal, I used to get on the announcements and announce the final scores. And I used to have school-wide bracket challenges and have all the kids compete. It was super fun. And I would get on and announce the scores. This year, the tournament starts on a Saturday. Because every game is being played in Indiana, they had to adjust for the first week, the first 2 rounds, Saturday to Sunday. I'm like, what is going on? What? It used to be so much fun trying to kind of sort of play hooky and still do your job at the same time. And now it's on a Saturday where there's no mystery anymore.
But you watch the game. You work on Saturdays sometimes with your university, so you could just do it like that.
Saturday though.
No, but maybe, do you want me to give you something to do this Saturday?
To do that I can completely ignore.
Carrie, if you're still watching, give Dave some tasks. Carrie gives
because I can't say no to Carrie.
That's true.
Give me some tasks.
I'll give you tasks.
And I'll feel fine ignoring those.
That's a good point. Hey, Che Cheney in the house. What's up, brother?
What?
Book brackets have been great in class. That's what my son who's in 3rd grade.
Do you know what basketball is, Che?
It's not the black rubber frozen piece. It's the round. Yeah.
Well, actually, the Raptors are actually legit, so we shouldn't be going.
That's true. That's true. My son who's in 3rd grade, his teachers they've been going through a March a book madness tournament where they're rated. Yeah. Actually, no, that's not my son. That's Jacqueline in 1st grade doing it. So that's been fun to watch her go through. But
that's cool.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Well, yeah, it's been fun. So maybe next year we'll. Apparently, it was invented by a Canadian.
James Naismith. Yes. All right, Che.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, anything that's been good that's been invented by Canadians, they have to come to the United States to sell it first.
Right. I mean,
Alanis Morissette,
This reminds me of the conversation I was having with Liv yesterday. Liv, we know Liv, right? The Livia.
I am aware of. I know her. Yes.
We jokingly say like all the best things start in Canada, and she's a prime example of it.
Absolutely.
Lindsay Titus is another example. She was born in Canada and then came over here. Like the best things are from Canada.
Yeah.
Do you guys Liv gets 2 weeks of spring break? Like that's another example of things.
Isn't life in Canada just always spring break? I mean,
well, no, it's never spring, so that's why they need an extra break. But it's just I'm like
they have holidays always. It seems like every weekend's a holiday though. That's what we always joke about up there.
That's true.
I'm just saying. So they get two full weeks, huh?
Yeah, 2 full weeks. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been to British Columbia. Like it's gorgeous. So I'm pretty sure every day is a vacation there, just because it's beautiful.
I've watched Alone on the Discovery Channel. I don't know if that counts, but
maybe. Chase says, just to clarify, it was invented by Canadian, but he was in the USA, so he was inspired by the United States.
Yeah, he was teaching a PE class with peach baskets. Yep.
He was probably down there like, bet these Americans will get a kick out of throwing this little orange thing in a peach basket. I could sell this. Anyway, so Christy, a lot of people are into these brackets and doing things. So Christy had Michigan, Iowa, and Ohio State, Illinois, with Michigan then being over Illinois.
That's a Big Ten slappy right there. Okay.
Used to get 2 weeks. Nikki used to get 2 weeks. Who is that? Taking all the great Canadians. Yes.
Nikki? Is that the Nikki? Is that who I'm? Oh, okay. Nikki.
What do you?
I feel like I've got more to talk to Nikki about here soon. That's all.
Yeah, we have more to talk about. Yeah. My friends with year-round school get 2 weeks. They do, yeah. A lot of year-round schools get longer breaks around different areas.
So can I use this as like a segue to the real thing I actually have to talk about?
Yeah, you have real. I'm very interested in real questions.
It's not a big deal, but I think you're one of the smartest guys that people don't realize is really all that smart. I think take that as a compliment, Jeff.
You just lost everyone. Like our viewership, just like everyone just got off.
But the idea of like hedging your bets on your brackets and things like that. I used to do multiple brackets, but then I felt like I was kind of, I don't know, I was losing my soul because I was rooting for everybody at that point.
Yeah, I used to do multiple.
So now I'm down to I just do one, see how it goes. So this kind of gets to the point of my question, and I guess I'll ask it just directly and kind of see where it goes. Sure. And this isn't like a brain breaky question. So if you say no, this is actually serious, Dave, we got to talk about this off air. That's cool, and we can just drink and play Leprechaun games. That's fine too. So I had a crazy busy day today, crazy busy, and then it just got me questioning and thinking, like this whole idea of like hedging your bets and how much do you diversify? So I'm thinking about teachers right now, and teachers are doing all the things. And when I was a building administrator, my goal was to come in and I would have like a rubric of 22 indicators, and I had to go in and evaluate teachers on 22 things. Mm-hmm. And I was expected to take teachers that were good and make them better and literally go find weaknesses and try to make them average. But yet we always tell people, live within your passions, find your strengths, celebrate strengths, look for all of those sorts of things. All of that to being said, for you, Jeff Gargas, and Teach Better, how do you find that balance behind finding your niche and saying, this is what I'm really good at, and also diversifying and saying, but I also know that everybody else expects at least average from me? Does that question make sense? And I'm asking you because you've done a lot of things throughout your career, but they've all really revolved around this entrepreneurial, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to make some change thing.
Yeah, so I think I want to answer one, but I want to clarify. So when you say like, but everybody else expects something, what'd you say? Other things out of me? Like, what are you talking about? Like, can you explain what you mean by that? Like, what am I balancing here? Because Teach Better itself does a whole bunch of stuff within our niche.
Well, so like that. So, with like Teach Better, it's Teach Better is all about meeting the needs.
What just happened there?
That's crazy. I don't know what just happened, but that looks pretty cool.
And all my light is on. Your mic changed too.
Ooh, fancy.
That's crazy. What just happened?
Look at that Instagram. Whatever happened. Do you like my glow?
The glow up over here. All right.
I'm not really sure what happened, but that's okay.
That's good. That makes this serious question less serious. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm going to see what's going on with all that. Let me.
Maybe turn your camera off and back on. See if it happens.
Everybody's gonna love that. Okay. Let's see what happens. Stop cam. Start cam.
Nope. Still there.
Start cam. Start. Wipe camera.
Whoa. That's good.
That's trippy.
Yeah. That was weird.
Okay. Well, if I need to switch, I got my other computer on. I can go there. But I guess my question is, like with Teach Better, the actual team itself, there's truly a lot that the Teach Better team does.
Sure.
But it is known, like it started as the grid method. and then to teach further. But then it's also podcasts and mastermind and blogs and all of those things. And yet still trying to meet the needs of wherever people are, trying to really dive in to help support them.
Sure.
So it's diversified, but it's got a core. And yet I know that there are some people that feel like they're supposed to kind of be the sailboat and just drift wherever the winds go and meet the needs of wherever people are and what they do. For teachers, is it good for teachers to try to become a jack of all trades or to find their core niche? And it stemmed from my morning today. And then I had a conversation with somebody today, and they were trying to figure out what it is that they're really, really good at, what they're passionate about. And we had this conversation of, well, should you just diversify yourself and just tell people I can do it all? Or do you need to be known for something?
Yes.
Okay. Good answer.
So it depends on, because you might be known as a person that can do a little bit of everything and can help. Or you might have one. I think regardless, the actual answer comes back to like self-awareness. Like, what are you good at? Because even like when you talk about in the mix of there, somewhere you said something about like follow your passions. And like one thing with that is like, there's an asterisk next to that. It's follow your passions, but don't be delusional about what it is you're trying to do. Right. You have to like, you can be super passionate about singing, but that doesn't mean you're going to go be a rock star. Right. Like you have to be, you know what I mean? Like you have
country star,
country star. Right. But you know what I mean? Like, so like you have to be self-aware to figure out, am I someone who can do a bunch of things pretty well? Or am I someone who needs to focus on doing one thing really well because I don't do a lot of things well if I do a bunch of things? Does that make sense? That's the whole
is it possible to do a lot of things really well? And even me on that, if you know you've got a gifting for lots of things, do you want to be that person that everybody runs to because you're the toolbox? Or do you need, well, I'm a tool, I got that. Or do you want to have a unique skill set? Like, do you want to be, I am a third grade teacher. I am a science teacher. I am a teach further teacher. I'm a grid method teacher. Like, or is it good to have it all?
I think again, the answer is yes. You have to be self-aware and honest with yourself to figure out what you actually want to do. Okay. Me, I love being someone who does a lot of the stuff so people can come to me for a lot of different things. Like, that's just me, but that doesn't mean that that's the right move for you. And as a teacher, there are teachers who I'm sure are like, hey, I just want to be the absolute best third grade teacher I can possibly be. And someone else may be like, I just want to be the best at all these things, or I want to be really, really good at all these things. And I want to do these different things because I have a passion to try a bunch of different stuff. I want to teach I want to teach literally every single grade level, right? And then I want to depends on where you want to go and what you want to do. So I think it all comes back to self-awareness, and that's in everything. Is teaching life in general is like, yeah, I mean, the jack of all trades, whatever what's the saying? Jack of all trades, what expert in none or whatever, master of none. For me, I'm like, yeah, like I get it. I get what they're saying, but at the same time, like it's still okay to know how to do and want to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because if you focus in on one, like you might be really, really good at that, but it might not be where you're supposed to be. It might not be the thing that you should be the best at or that you'll love the most. So trying a lot of stuff and being involved in a lot of stuff is a good thing. But when you find a thing that you're just driven for, then yeah, maybe you do need to narrow it down.
So first of all,
again, self-awareness.
No, yeah. So I'm conflicted between two things right now. One, I'm conflicted on, do I need to switch computers and get a different camera or not? I'll do that maybe in a second. But that idea of what you're passionate about versus what you're good at. Mm-hmm. What if those two things aren't aligned?
Then you need to figure out something else that you're good at that you're also passionate about.
Okay.
Right, so you got to find that sweet spot or whatever you want to call it of in business. It's what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and what can make money, right? Or somewhere in there also there can be a third that comes in and intercepts. That's what can you help people with, right? Which typically falls in line with what makes money from a business angle. But life in general, yeah, like what, and honestly, it's funny. I have a mastermind that I run with other business owners, and last night we actually touched on this because she talked about one of the women in our group. She's 62 and had reinvented herself and launched a new business just a year ago. And she had talked about how she had always been taught, she focused on what she was really good at and what she was really passionate about, but she never thought about what could make her money. So she ended up having a career where she she enjoyed what she did, but she struggled with money her entire life. And she had this opportunity through some tragedy and stuff like that actually presented her with a chance to kind of reinvent herself. And she added that component in and discovered that she was supposed to start this business and stuff. So you kind of got to focus on all that. But like, make money doesn't mean make you wealthy and rich, but it's just that can support your life, whatever that life needs to be. But so yeah, I think it's they don't always align. I mean, because again, like I'm going to use the same example before. You can be really passionate about singing and performing country music.
There you go.
And that could certainly make you money, right? But you might not be good at it. Or you might actually be good at it, but it's not going to make you money because it's something else, right? I mean, you know, it doesn't fill the makes you money because the opportunity is so rare or unlikely that it just doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So you got to be,
So hold that thought. I'm gonna.
You switching?
Real quick. I don't know. I'm gonna close this computer. If it doesn't, I've got the other one on. So.
Wow! Look at that. Ooh.
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. I'm like the producer. I'm like, Dave, we're over here. Look at the red light, Dave. Look to the red light. Over here. Dave, over here. Dave. There you go. Oh. Elijah says the answer for me changes because of the whole learning process and personal evaluation. As I go in one area, my goal might change. More self-awareness. Absolutely. 100%. But don't do something you don't love simply for money. Do it for your joy and happiness. Yeah, that's what we got to find the things that that, like you said, that intersect with all three of those. What am I? It doesn't say what are you best at, right? It's what are you good at, what do you love, and then what can make you money. In my opinion, if there's only one thing that falls under the what you love, you haven't tried enough stuff. Because there's probably a whole bunch of things that you actually would really love doing that you maybe not haven't done before. So that's, for me, I think one of the best things we can encourage kids to do and young people to do is to go try a whole bunch of stuff so they can go figure out what the heck they like. Anyway, are you switching back? Because I can hear both. Do you want me to switch back to this? It looks fixed. Looks fixed.
I had to kick it and say some bad words, but I'm back.
I like it.
So here was what led to the question. I know I centered it around me because it kind of
because everything's centered around you. Yeah, we get it, Dave.
It does. Yeah,
We've been here.
Glad, as long as we're clear on that baseline. But the conversation I had with this person was really so they're an educator. They're in the classroom, and they were asking questions about writing books and doing podcasts and wanting to speak and wanting to help and wanting to do all of those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of had a talk. You said it way better than I did. So I'm hoping this person will come back in and watch what you just said, because I felt like I was kind of being hypocritical with my answer a little bit. I tried to tell them, find your passion. What is that thing that you are really good at that other people think you're good at too? Are they aligned? You don't have to go out there and do all of the things because you see other people doing all of the things. So I like what you just said. Find that passion. Find that sweet spot.
Well, the key to figure out are a lot of the things you think you need to do or those things you may actually need to do in order to do the thing that you want to do, right? So writing a book, speaking at events, doing that type of stuff like that those are all pieces that you can do and maybe you should do depending on to help you do something else, right? So
yeah. I think some people are in a place where those are the things that they want to do. That they want to do those things. And I think there's some questions about why and what's the goal and if those are the things you want to do, great. And if that's where you find your passion, great. I think it's just, it does take a lot of self-reflection and a lot of looking yourself in the mirror and asking yourself why, what is the purpose? Mm-hmm. What's the goal? And if you can answer them all, great, full steam ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another thing is like that a lot of people are afraid to change that. Because they're like, at 17, 18, 19, whatever, I decided I wanted to be an accountant. Yeah. I was going to go be that. I went to school for that. And now I really hate the idea of doing that. And I'd actually really love to go design buildings and be an architect or something, right? And they're like, but that's not the plan. That's not what I said I was going to do. And I'm changing. If you change, and Gary Vaynerchuk has a couple good rants about like this misconception that like changing your mind is a weakness,
right? Yeah,
when it's actually the ultimate strength, because it means that you're growing and you're self-aware and you're able to and you're humble.
I love that. I've heard variations of his his rantings, and I heard somebody that literally called me out directly. But so I'm 43, and somebody said, okay, would 43-year-old Dave go talk to a 17-year-old and say, what direction should I take with my life? No way. But how many decisions do we make as an adult that are based off of the decisions we made as a 17-year-old that we're not willing to adjust because I committed to it? So you've got to be willing to adjust mindsets, continue to grow, continue to seek strength, and find those passions and run.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can I tell you that 38-year-old Jeff would absolutely go talk to 17-year-olds. I'd love to talk to 17-year-olds and find out what I should do with my life. You know, it'd be so much fun.
You were just free-willing back then, or is it because?
No, I'm just talking like 17-year-olds now, just to go talk to them, because they're probably thinking of things that you and I would have never thought about at 17, and that we certainly wouldn't be thinking about at our age now. I'm not saying you would take their advice.
Right? No. Well, I think
the conversation could be really cool.
Today, and I would listen to a 17-year-old today more than I would listen to myself at 17. Oh my gosh, I was dumber than dirt. Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, no, but that's a great point, though. The point of that is that you made a lot of your life decisions at 17, which we had this conversation last night. One of the guys in my mastermind actually has a program. He's an executive coach, executive career coach for teenagers. It's a really important job that he's doing, because what he's trying to do is instill self-awareness and teenagers when they're 14, 15, 16, 17, before they make those life decisions.
Yeah.
Now, his is sort of a niche around parents and kids who are pretty sure their path is to college, and then to help them find the best college, the best major, and the best path for them. But if he's got a kid that shouldn't be going to college, he directs them where they need to go and stuff too. And we talked about that last night in our mastermind, about how we're asking kids to make a life decision at 17. Think about what you were like at 17. And
it's the same conversation about the books and the podcast. All those things might be great avenues to get where you want to go, but I think so often we force people, kids, adults, whatever, into this is the way you have to go to get to some unknown destination where people haven't even figured out where they want to go yet. They just see other people do it, so we think, oh, I'm supposed to do that, and then we wonder, now what do I want to do with myself, right? So
yeah, I talk about I told him, I'm like, I went to college because I was supposed to, and I had the opportunity to. And the crazy thing is, had I actually had a conversation with my parents about what I was thinking, they would have been like, oh, then you probably shouldn't go to college, and that's okay, right? But I didn't, because that's what I was supposed to do. And honestly, they kind of pushed me towards college, because that's what they were that's what they were learning, they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
My dad was in the generation of he busted his butt to put himself through college to get us to a point where we had the opportunity to go to college, so that's what we should go do. And I was like, I was a kid who came from a good home and a good town, had an opportunity, so I was supposed to go to college. But looking back on it, I'm like, there is no way I was supposed to go to college. Maybe a couple years after graduation, I could have and I should have, but heck no. I was so immature, and I had zero interest at all. And it just didn't make sense.
I feel like you're piercing me right now. You are. You're getting me right here, because I've been having this talk with my 15-year-old like crazy right now. So I went to college for 15 years. 15
That's
years.
A lot of time to go to school.
It's ridiculous is what it is. And now I spend half of my days teaching in college. And my goal is to try to get more people enrolled to go to college. My 15-year-old says, I don't really want to go to college, Dad, and I don't need to go to college. And now there's a part of me that says, no, you have to. You're supposed to. But then I'm like, no, you don't need to. But then it's that hypocritical devil angel. It's find your passion, son. Do your thing, and let me support you.
The highest rated companies in the world to work for, that pay more than anything in the world, don't require college degrees anymore.
Yep. And they're run by people that didn't go to college.
What's that?
And they're run by people that did not complete college.
In a lot of ways, yeah. A lot of them they are. But the catch is that doesn't mean you shouldn't. Just means it's not the only option.
Yeah.
It's just not the only option anymore. There's a lot. If you love tinkering with stuff with your hands and putting things together, you should probably not go to college.
Right.
You should go to a trade school or get into YouTube and learn how to be an engineer or a mechanic or whatever it is that allows you to do that type of stuff.
It's funny. I used to have a bias. I used to have a lot of biases, but I used to have a bias, and this was a fairly recent one, probably 4 years ago. When I was in Florida, Florida is really big in alternative certification. So you don't have to have a college degree in teaching to become a teacher. And I was so biased against that and thought that doesn't make sense.
I think South Carolina's the same way, at least for subs. Yeah.
There's quite a few. Yeah, there's quite a few states now, especially with the teacher shortage. It's catching on even more. But I was super biased against it and thought, no, you had to go through it. I had to go through it. But as I think through my freshman and sophomore year, I took music appreciation and astronomy and the history of the Aztecs, like cool classes, nothing that helped set me up to become a better teacher. I think, there was there's some teaching prep courses I probably could have and should have taken, and I'm glad I took, and they helped groom me and prepare me, student teaching, all of that. But there was so much other stuff that was just helping me find my way, as opposed to, I know what I want to do, help me become great at it. But
it was, I had a conversation with my dad. My parents are amazing, but I had a conversation with my dad when I was probably 25, 26, actually, when I finally was just like, I just like broke down. I'm not going to keep going to college. Like, it's not going to work, And I had failed out. And this was at the moment where like the record label was failed. Like, I was getting ready to close that. And I was just like, basically having I'm so sorry I failed you when you gave me everything I needed to make it. And, he did the typical of what you would hope you get which is like, we don't care as long as you're happy. But then he was telling me about, one of his best friends from high school, who we always kind of looked at as like an uncle. They never had kids or anything, so like they were the super fun aunt and uncle, right? But they had like everything. He had a garage that rivaled most NASCAR garages that had 3 alarm systems, one of which was moving lasers. I'm not joking. They had their own lake dug in their yard. They had, just amazing house, this beautiful cars. He had a boat that you could hear from like 18,000 miles away. It was ridiculous. Like, it was just, they just lived this big, glorious life. And he told me, he's like, Chris literally slept on couches until he was 33. He had no idea what to do. He went back to school at 33, and now look at him now.
Wow.
Chris also got him with a company that was started and being the number 6 or whatever, but that's not the point. Like, he didn't have a clue until he was 33. Meanwhile, at the same time, like, my dad's couch was one of the couches he would sleep on, just every now and then randomly showed up because my dad went on that path. It was just one of these things of what he's like, just because it was for me, it doesn't mean it was for Chris, right? And just because it was for me doesn't mean it's for you. You got to go. I look at my brother, my brother Mark, I'm the youngest of 3. My middle brother like does extremely well, super successful, and he didn't go to college. I think he went for like 2 semesters and then was done. Meanwhile, my older brother, who's a doctor now, he's like you. He went to school for like, I don't know, 6 lifetimes. But he's got like 5 or 6 different degrees because he really enjoyed that, and he likes that type of thing. So it's just one of those weird things. To me, it all goes back to, and we're getting a lot of comments. I'm loving all the comments and the stories in here about people like experience different things. Like, that to me is the biggest piece. Is like, experience everything you can to figure out what you want to do. Like, and like we've had this conversation before. Like, if you're a teacher right now and you're not loving it, like, go find something else to do. Like, you should, right? Or if you're, and I'm just at the teachers, I know that's teachers watching. Like, and like, I think teachers struggle with that because like, oh, but I'm supposed to be given. I'm supposed to be this. It's like, yeah, but if you're not happy, who cares? It doesn't matter at that point, right? Like, go do something else. And that goes for anyone who's anything right now. Like, you can do that at 40. You can do that at 50. So anyway.
It's such an interesting conversation. It really is, because obviously our job as educators is to give kids as many opportunities as possible. We want to help them so that they can go out and they can truly do whatever they want to do, because we've equipped them to figure out who they are and where they want to go. And if they want to pursue more formalized education or learn it through the life, whatever they need to do, we want to equip them with that. But as you're telling me the story, I'm reminded, there was this guy I had on my podcast about a year ago now. His name was Ron Conigliaro. And Ron Conigliaro, if I were just to describe him, he lives the life that so many other people would say, I want to live that life. He's truly a rock star. He travels the world as a professional photographer right now. He's gone to 70-something countries, won tons of awards. But after he graduated high school, he went down to New Orleans to try to become a rock star. Failed miserably. And he said for a lot of people, that would have just defined them. But he said when he was in school, K-12, he was taught how to fail and how to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and to have this conversation, say, okay, maybe that's not what I'm supposed to do, but I've got enough other backup plans and I'm going to go find my passion. And he decided, okay, man, I'm not supposed to be a rock star. What else can I do? And then he started his own business. He's a software designer. He does all these things. Never went to college. Again, not saying college is bad or wrong.
No. Yeah.
But our job is to help prepare kids to fail when they're adults too, not just to learn how to fail as a 12-year-old, but learn how to fail as a 22-year-old and a 42-year-old. So you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going and growing. So
when I was 22, I literally said to a mentor who I still consider one of the most influential people in my life, I said to him, when I was leaving a position where I met him at, and he asked me why, because I was walking away from a job that was paying me really nice money to go start a record label and be in music. And he asked me why I would do that, because I've been growing my book of business for a while and stuff. And I told him, I said, I'd rather die than not be in music. Because at 23 or whatever it was, which by the way is when I would have been out of college, right, and getting ready to take over my own classroom had I been a teacher's route, right? In my mind, it was music or death. Like, was literally, because that was it. And that's not what I do right now. Because it took me a long time. It wasn't until I was like 20. Jeez, I don't even want to where it would have been. It was 20 yeah, right around that time. That is after that, where I finally realized that, like, it wasn't necessarily music. It was impact that I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Because my music drove me to the record label, because I loved the idea of helping other musicians follow their passions, right? Even when my passion was to be a rock star, it was with the caveat, like, my goal was to be a rock star and then start a label to help other rock stars become rock stars, right? That was my whole thing. I said, and then from there, it became where I realized the first time that I basically got walked through by a crowd of people because they saw one of my the bands that I worked with and not me anymore. After having been a frontman for several years, I realized I'm kind of cool being that, and being on the side of the stage where no one knows who I am or cares who I am because my band's playing in front of people or whatever. And I'm like, I just enjoy that. And then after that, when I figured out, I really enjoy this whole, like, helping other people stuff. And so, like, that's what it took me. But I was almost 30 years old by the time that, like, clicked.
I'm 43.
You're really old.
I know. And I keep saying how old I am, but I'm saying it because I want people to realize that it can click at 40, 41, 42, 43 years old. It really can. I'm a prime example of this. I've been in education for 21 years, worked in 7 different school systems, because I was constantly looking for that sweet spot and thinking I could make a bigger impact and a bigger impact and a bigger impact. Right now, I'm like, I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I'm comfortable just doing what I do. And it doesn't always have to be live, having a drink with you, although I love it. But I would be doing that whether the camera was on or not. That's the goal.
Sure.
You know, and I think that's what we all want to be with our life. We just want to finally feel comfortable doing what you do, doing what you love. And if you can get paid for it, sweet. Yeah. And
I think, you said our goal needs to be, and our challenge would be to give students as many opportunities as they have, as many choices they have, help them make the choice. But I think in another piece of that is to make sure that they understand that there's a really good chance it's not going to be the right choice or the last choice, and that's okay. And they need to know how to go shift and change their mind and fail and change their mind and all that type of stuff, because that's how you really figure it out. Like, right. I mean, you go, you meet different people, you find out about a different career that you never heard of, or something new comes along and you figure out that you were actually meant to be trading NFTs, and which didn't exist, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, or whatever. Like, that type of stuff. Like, I think that's the most important piece. We have to teach kids how to go build a life, not how to go get a college degree.
Yep. Yeah. You're spot on.
Unless the life they want to build requires a college degree, then
that's fine
the
too.
path to where they go, right?
So it needs to be the path.
Yeah,
right? Absolutely,
exactly. Yeah. So love it.
Good stuff. Conversation. Yeah. Sorry for taking.
Thanks for the real question here.
This was. I mean, this is full circle here. These were our conversations back in the day, back before the cameras were on. When we were. This is kind of what we would do. So I'm glad we kind of got back.
This is good. I'm liking this. This is good stuff. Yeah. All right, what else you got? Do we have another real question, or is that like the question?
I can ask you leprechauns and pots of gold question.
You mentioned, so did that bring into this because you, like, something about LeBron spawned that, you said something earlier, but
yeah, because LeBron, okay, so LeBron, basketball player, media mogul now, part owner of the Boston Red Sox, yet he's a New York Yankees fan. So, I mean, that's a prime
owns a small school, too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so the Yankees fan thing, yeah, let's go. I want to go there. Let's go there.
It's this idea of differentiation and to what extent. So honestly, the Boston Red Sox thing and the New York Yankees, for people that are watching, don't know, they don't like each other a whole lot.
If you're not sure what we're talking about, so LeBron James is a known Yankees fan, which he got a lot of grief for when he was a Cleveland player, but the Yankees fan, which I applaud him for sticking to who he was a fan of. Yep. Is now being said to be purchasing an undisclosed percentage of the Boston Red Sox, and everyone's freaking out.
And he walked into the Staples Center where he plays basketball last night wearing a Boston Red Sox hat. So it's like it's done. It's happening. Mm-hmm. And he's doing it for financial interest, which makes perfect sense. God bless you. But is that okay? If you got this loyalty, do you do that? I don't know.
So one thing is Taylor. I hope Taylor's joking, because whether that's true or not doesn't have anything to do with the conversation. Actually, which is where I was going to get to, is because he's making a financial decision.
Yeah,
there's probably a couple things. One, we don't know. Possibly LeBron at some point was like, hey, you know what? I would really love to own at least a percentage of a baseball team because I love baseball. And possibly, we don't know, he might have went through a billion negotiations with the Yankees, and they're like, we're not selling you anything. Okay, and he's like, oh, okay, I really want to buy I want to buy a franchise. And someone from the Red Sox was like, hey, here's an opportunity. And he...
No, I'm not looking at Adam's message. Nope.
You know what I mean? So, like, that's okay.
But let's put Adams up there, because I think it's a real life example. When we talk about Michigan football, for example, Michigan's always talking about they had to go find a Michigan man, and we got Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, he's a Michigan man, but is that really the answer? And right now it's interview season for a lot of educators out there, and there are a lot of people that are looking at whether they're looking at leaving teaching altogether, possibly looking at going to a different school or a different district, or
sure.
And there might be times when you're sitting at the interview table and you're thinking, I don't know that my philosophies necessarily line up with the philosophies of this school or this administrator or this team. But maybe they offer you a little bit more money. Maybe you think, okay, the job will be easier at this other school. Those are difficult. I grant those are very personal conversations and personal decisions that people have to make. Is it okay to explore opportunities that might, I don't know, violate your loyalties and your allegiances to where you currently are?
Absolutely. Violating it's even okay to explore, but accepting or going somewhere that violates your morals is different.
There you go.
You have to make that decision for yourself. But in the case, something like, like the LeBron James things is a little different there, because like whether or not unless the Red Sox organization was doing something that he found morally, which they would be getting in trouble for anyway, whatever. But like, he's making a decision based on, and Taylor just said it, like he's thinking that LeBron James is figuring out he's not going to play basketball forever. Now, don't get me wrong, like I'm pretty sure he's already set up for life.
Hey, he's got Space Jam coming out now. He's got all the things.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was set up when he got the $90 million from Nike. Like, I think he's cool.
He was set up when he got the ESPN deal as a 12-year-old. Are you kidding me?
LeBron could have, after year one of basketball, could have stopped taking his salary from basketball, and he'd be set up for 5 lifetimes.
Yes,
even if he lived a pretty extravagant life. That's not the point. Yeah, what he's really trying to do is what he's about to do, and what he's hoping to do is set up the next 50 generations of his family up.
People don't realize he from high school to the pros, and not because he didn't want to play. He could not play college because he had made so much money as a middle schooler that he lost his professional status. So get that in your head, people. He was like crazy rich as a 12-year-old.
Well, but I also think it's part of this. You know, one thing that that a lot of people don't realize is, like, we talk about, you just can't talk about LeBron's loyalty. Like, I tried to at first when he left, and I'm like, oh, you should have been loyal to the Cavs. Like, you ruined it. You came back, but you left. You went to LA, and I'm like, no, wait a minute, dude. Like, forget basketball. That dude is pumping millions into his hometown of Akron. He's done more for Akron than almost anyone who has the ability to, and he continues to pump more and more into the school and the scholarships, making an impact. So he could be looking at that deal going, hey, I didn't want to wait until I could buy the team I wanted to buy. I needed to get in so that I can get in, and in 10, 15 years, flip my owner percentage for a higher piece and donate that or put that into stuff. And
so should Gary Vee be holding out for the Jets?
That's a different thing.
Or could he pour his love into the Lions and help them out?
He won't, but he won't, and he's very public about it because it's different. Because Gary Vee's isn't, I want to own a baseball team. He wants to own the Jets. It's different. And he's actually very publicly said that he actually believes that the day he gets the ownership will actually be one of the worst days of his life.
Yeah,
because he enjoys the chase. So he also like hopes that he actually like secretly not so secretly hopes they never win the Super Bowl before that. Because he wants to take the credit. Because he loves it's same with like the Browns. Like Browns fans are so freaking passionate because we have to be, because otherwise we would stop being fans. So I mean, it's I think the LeBron thing. I think that's different though. Go ahead.
It's an awesome question, and I don't want to single anybody out that I know is watching right now, but I know somebody is watching right now that is in this situation that they're looking at possibly leaving the classroom and becoming an administrator. Do you take any administrator job you can so you can add that to your resume, or do you wait for that job in your school to open up?
Depends on what your goal is. I mean, that's you know what I mean. Like I don't think anyone can answer that question.
Right.
I think you can ask someone some questions about things.
You just answered it. There is no answer. It's
because if your goal is to be a superintendent by a certain time, then you should take a job as long as it doesn't cause you, like, again, I always do like as long as it's like morally acceptable. Like, yeah, if you need that position on your resume in order to get to the position you're trying to get to, then yeah, you might need to take it. Hopefully you still do the job up to the absolute best you can. But if it's not in your district because it just doesn't open up, or they don't see the potential in you and someone else does, then yeah, you should jump. Which I'm actually a really loyal person, so like I don't always.
No, I agree with that. Do you think it's okay for people to take a position knowing it's a stepping stone?
Yes, but I don't think it's okay for you to treat it like one while you're there.
Oh, there you go.
That's the key.
That's really good.
Because, but for me, that's the difference between, like, that's just integrity. For me, if like you're there, I used to say this when I ran Arby's, and I'd tell people when they were working, I'm like, look, I know like you're not gonna work for Arby's forever. Like I get it, because it was their side job while they were in college. I'm like, but like you're here for 20 hours a week, like. Why don't you come in and work the best 4-hour shift you can possibly work? Like, if you're going to be here, why don't you just stay here and do it the best you can? I said, so that when you go interview for that job and you call here, John and I, John was the manager at the time, I'm like, we can tell them truthfully that you were amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, and you're also going to learn a lot more. And I tell them, I'm like, and as long as you're here, I'm like, why don't you try to be a shift manager so you can throw that on your resume and learn more and stuff. So like, it's the same thing there. Like if you're getting to be an assistant principal because you really want to be a superintendent, you got to get there and then move up. Like, be the best you can be, because one, that's going to be better anyway. But it's also just integrity. Like,
Be there with both feet in, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like you could that's how you take a stepping stone and change it into a trampoline.
Yeah,
like a
stepping stone or a keystone, you choose. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I think it's absolutely okay. I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah,
a lot of people do that. There's a lot of people that move around, and I mean, I think I got a good buddy of mine that's super successful. With a company that does, what do they make? I don't know. They make like cabinets and cabinetry for like massive hotels and stuff. And he's had to do every single job because that's what's required to get to the area manager job. And so he had to do everything. And we had that conversation too, because I'd call him and I'd be like, how's it? He's doing every job for like 6 months. So it's not even really a lot of time to get. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just trying to like kill it. I got to kill it every place I go. I got to be the best I possibly can be. Like, but they were all stepping stones.
Yeah, there's this guy named Michael Atkins. He's out in Colorado, and Michael Atkins.
He did the diet.
No, different. Atkins.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. Good connection there to like 1995. But Michael Atkins, he's a principal in Colorado. But his claim to fame is he went from custodian to principal, because same step. He knew he wanted to work in schools so badly, but nobody would give him a teaching job because of his old grades and his history as a student in the district. So he said, okay, I'll take any job I can get here because I want to come work in this school because one day I'm going to be the principal here. Stepped in, was an amazing custodian. Then he got to become a paraprofessional. Then he got to become a teacher. Now he's the principal. And I love that story of, it's not just about I'm going to come in just so I can use the position. I'm going to use this position so I can learn and I can serve and I can be the best I can be so more doors can open up. So,
yeah, I mean, I like, not to go back, but I'm going back to like a past life of Jeff. When I started Arby's, like I didn't want to be a back line guy making sandwiches. I wanted to be a district supervisor.
Yeah.
Who operates a bunch of stores, which by the way make a whole lot more money than I make right now. Right. And like, that's what I wanted to do. But like, first you got to do that really, really well.
Well, Jeff, can I be very blunt? I guarantee there are people listening to this that say they want to be Jeff Gargas.
I
guarantee it.
Bad decision.
These are people that don't know you very well, obviously.
Yeah,
but they do, right? And you see this, you know this. There are people that want to do this kind of thing all the time. Yeah. Is there something to be said of put in your time and earn it? Do people have to earn things like this? Or is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Not to quote Gary Vee again in this, but like he always says, he's like, if you want an exceptional life, how dare you think you don't have to work exceptionally hard? Like, he's like, how absurd are you? Like,
yeah,
like, this is reality of it.
Like, truly, you are working from 5 a.m. until 3 a.m. daily. I mean, I don't think people understand it. It is hard work to be Jeff Gargas. It really is.
Yeah, I don't think I go 5 to 3 anymore, but we did for a while. I do. I mean, we work a lot. Like, and I'm always on. I mean, I have a team of a lot of teachers who work full-time jobs and then work with us too, which means they work nights for us and they work weekends for us, which means I'm available every night and every weekend, because how dare I ask them to work for us or in that time if I'm not going to be available to help them if I need to be. And we did. And I always tell the story about, like, first 3 years with Chad and I, like, we built this thing from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. because he was teaching and a father of, at that time, 3. I lose track with
5,
and I was literally building another business. Like, so I was already doing that thing, and supporting my clients, stuff like that. So, like, it was a lot. Like, we worked a ton. We just didn't, it's just what it is. So, yeah, I mean, but it's the same can be said for if you want to be an amazing teacher. Like, sorry, you're probably going to work more than 40 hours a week. And I know a whole bunch of teachers watching right now that are amazing teachers that know that's true because they work more than 40 hours a week. But like, that's just the reality of it. Like. Yeah. Like the minimums, like the contracts are written for the people that need to just get the job done. If you're going to be better than that, most likely you're going to work more. Like, that's just the reality. Like, we can love it or hate it or complain about it or whatever, and should be compensated more for it. Yes. But that's how it goes. I mean, well, I think about, I keep going back to Arby's just cause it's like an earlier job of mine. Like, I got paid for 46 or 48 hours, like was my scheduled time, but I guarantee you I never worked less than 60 ever. I never clocked more than 48 but because I wasn't allowed to, but we always worked more, right? So it's just, but that's, I mean, and teachers know that probably better than almost anyone, but in life in general, yeah, if you want to do more, it's this weird thing, and this is like controversial sometimes, I get whatever, but I hope people take this the right way. Like, when I talk to someone who asked me, like, hey, like, how do I get, I want to do this thing. I want to create content. I want to build a side hustle that eventually becomes my thing. And the first thing they're like is like, but I got to make sure, like, I got plenty of time because my family and stuff like that. I'm like, look, I love that you're thinking about your family. I'm like, but like, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not willing to have that trade-off, like, it's not going to work. And that's not like to say that that's a bad decision. It's just, that's just reality. Like, that's the self-awareness. That's that delusion. Like, we had that conversation. When we decided to start this thing, I'd already had a bunch of businesses. I'd sworn off, and I had a conversation with my wife saying, hey, like, I'm about to do this. Like, are we okay with this? We got kids now. We got this stuff. Like, it's going to be tough. And it was. And I've told you this before. A lot of people, if anybody is watching, doesn't know that, like, I don't know, I can't remember what months it were, but 4, 5, 6 months into this, power got turned off. 12 months into this, our water got turned off. Somewhere down the line, the cell phones got turned off. Like, it wasn't easy. It was really, really tough. It still is. But I think that goes true with everything, right? I mean, you gotta, yeah. If you want something, if you want to be able to drink with Dave on Wednesdays, it takes a lot. Unless you're Dave, then it's really easy.
Oh yeah, it totally is. I just get to sit here, Drake, and ask questions, and have you just spew all this amazingness. I think my biggest, I mean, there's so many takeaways, and I know we've got another thing we got to run to in just a minute here, but these conversations are really powerful conversations for people. So I'm glad people are allowing me to have this and reflect on it and talk about this. I don't want to be a commodity as a person. I don't want to be a commodity. And I think that's the same thing with everybody, and all of people's wisdom and their knowledge and the stuff that they're creating. They don't want it to become a commodity. They want it to be amazing and unique. So put in the work and be amazing. Be amazing. Just do you. You are amazing, and just kill it. So yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks for this this session. This was good. Fun. And I know this is one of your giftings. I know people reach out to you all the time and they say, Jeff, can you help me with this? So I figured I'm going to do it, and let's see if we can help other people at the same time. So
I try to help. I don't know if I always do, but I try to. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, we do have to go. We've got another thing we have to get to, which is going to be a good time. And then I've got another meeting after that too. I got a full night ahead of me still.
Ooh, so look at you.
So it's good stuff. Tomorrow night, Mastery Chat. Oh, jeez, I should know who is on. I'm live tomorrow night for the recap. I know that much. But who is leading?
I just saw it on LinkedIn before we went live.
Well, I get confused because I see I'm looking at multiple weeks sometimes and stuff. So, Andrew's on. Andrew Coleman.
Got it.
So that's going to be a good time. So he and I will be live tomorrow night after Mastery Chat. So Mastery Chat's 8 p.m. Eastern Time over on Twitter. We'll be live here again at 9 p.m. Eastern Time after that to recap. And Dave and I will be back next week at, what time is it? 5 o'clock Eastern Time for Brain Break. And we promise it won't be, I won't promise it won't be as thoughtful. It might be worse. But we're going to see how brackets are doing at that point. It'll be fun to check back in and see if any of Jeff's teams are still actually in it or if they all get knocked out, which actually, not good for my bracket, but I'll love that as a fan. Like if all number ones get knocked out, that'll be awesome.
There's only one of the number one stays.
No, I want them all knocked out.
Okay.
I definitely I don't want that was it's as hard as the years that I've picked North Carolina to get all the way there. I'm it's really tough to do as a Duke fan, but even harder to be a Duke fan. That's a whole other story.
That's the truth.
Anyway, appreciate y'all for chiming in. All the conversation that was going on in the comments, I think was awesome as well. So we'll see y'all next week and have a great rest of your week, great weekend. We'll see you at Mastery Chat tomorrow night. See you.